Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Go Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. Guys, we're taking a look today at the San Jose Sharks. We're taking a look at the Evander Kane situation and kind of just going over everything that's been going on. There's been a lot of crazy stuff here with the Evander Kane situation. I wanted to talk about it earlier on, but I didn't really know if there was enough information. I knew that more would leak out. So now that we've given it a little time, kind of settle the dust just slightly, we're going to take a look at the Evander Kane situation in this video. So let's get right into it. So Evander Kane, earlier this summer, his wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, had put some stuff on her story on Instagram and on Twitter, pretty much exposing Evander Kane. Pretty much releasing statements on side affairs he had with some woman in Los Angeles, which obviously pretty interesting stuff there. I'm not going to get too far down that rabbit hole, but very interesting. Basically saying that, making accusations that he had abandoned his daughter and that he wasn't there to take care of her or didn't care about her. He was too busy in Europe and this and that. Okay. And that she also made a huge accusation, which the NHL actually got involved, saying that he was betting on his own games with the San Jose Sharks. Now, obviously, we know that earlier really last winter, there was some stuff going on that maybe he was having issues in Vegas, not paying casinos and having a little bit of a gambling situation, maybe a gambling addiction. So that one obviously drew the NHL's attention because that's illegal. That's like against the law. That's a huge, huge, huge issue. And that's something that the NHL would definitely want to make sure was not going on, or at the very least correct the situation before it gets any worse. So the NHL, after that, had released an investigation on the illegal betting accusations, and we really haven't heard much on that front recently. But we're still waiting on that. And then things get more juicy. Then we hear, according to Kevin Kurtz of The Athletic, and this was last week, that players were going to General Manager Doug Wilson as soon as last season, letting him know about the Kane situation, his antics in the locker room, and that they wanted out of San Jose if he wasn't. Very, very, very interesting stuff. And then there was stuff saying that Doug Wilson, the general manager of the Sharks, was turning a blind eye to the entire situation and that it wasn't that big of a deal. Kane disrespected team rules. He was late to games, late to practices. He had poor practicing habits, and he also, didn't stay to the dress code rules that the Sharks had. Which, again, in a locker room where you're with other players, that does seem like kind of like a general disrespect for the team, for his teammates in general, and the entire organization as a whole. And then we started to hear stuff about maybe a trade for Evander Kane, and that this has been talked about since last year, that the Sharks have been exploring options for trading Evander Kane and maybe moving on from him as a distraction in the room. Now it seems like with everything that's been coming out from his soon-to-be ex-wife and this whole gambling thing, and now from the Athletic reports, any team would need a sweetener from the Sharks in a deal for Evander Kane, especially considering he has 4 years left at an annual cap hit of $7 million per season. He is going to be interesting to move. He'll be 34 years at the conclusion of his contract. 2 weeks ago, he celebrated his 30th birthday. Happy birthday, Evander Kane. Probably not the birthday you were probably hoping for your 30th, but he's still so young, and it just seems like his world is like falling apart right now. And I do honestly feel for the guy a little bit. I know some people say he's a piece of, he's an a-hole, whatever. But I do genuinely have a little bit of sympathy for him right now because he is down and down bad and really not a great situation. Now, if you look at Evander Kane and his value in the marketplace, other than all this off-ice stuff, he's a top 6 forward in the NHL, right? And you look at his production, he's good for, I mean, he put up 45 points in the last 2 seasons. Mind you, in shortened seasons that were not 82 games. So for the last 5 or 6 years, he's been a 50 to 60 point player in the NHL, which does add value to the league. He is a valuable player when he's on the ice. And there was actually a situation with a assistant coach, a power play coach, that it was almost, there were almost hands being thrown in the locker room because Evander Kane wasn't in the right position on power plays. So it stems back to so many things. I'll try if I could find it again, but there was a picture of him in Winnipeg coming off the ice, and Dustin Byfuglien giving him the middle finger, which is quite an interesting picture, to say the least, and kind of goes in line with what we know about Evander Kane over the last little while. It's a little bit of everything in this story. It's the probably a little bit butthurt wife, soon to be ex-wife, the just trying to tear him down, the players on his team wanting to tear him down. And I don't know him personally, so I'm not going to attack his character one way or the other, saying he's this great person and this and that, or he's this terrible person that, abuses his wife and children and whatever. But there's somewhere in the happy medium of what the story realistically and really is. And I think the problem is, in terms of the hockey sense, if I'm a general manager anywhere, I probably wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Unless you're the Carolina Hurricanes, who have seemingly not been too afraid of bringing in guys like Tony DeAngelo and other things like that. But I think it's very interesting just how this whole situation is unfolded. And I don't really know what is going to happen. I really, honestly, if I could tell you, I would. But I think it's very interesting that Evander Kane is taking a lot of heat for some of the things he's doing. And this is the thing, moralistically, you can't put morals into this. It's really not that complicated. It's just very interesting on what we could see end up happening with Kane. Does he end up in a new city? Like, I don't know what the Sharks do, because they're in a state of, a transition, right? And I wonder if the Sharks' issues over the last year or two have stemmed from some of the stuff with Evander Kane. Now, maybe they'll use that as the excuse as to why Carlson just fell off a cliff, or Brent Burns, or any of the guys on that team just fell off. You could just use that as a cop-out. But I do think it's very interesting, everything that's happened with Kane. He had some issues in Buffalo. We remember hearing stuff about him in Buffalo. We remember hearing stuff about him in Winnipeg, especially with that picture of him with Dustin Byfuglien. They were probably best friends. And now in San Jose, we're hearing the same thing about Evander Kane. And I don't want to put race into this, because that is also a completely other issue. And for me as a white guy to sit here and say something, I'm not even going to touch that. But that will also be brought up into the conversation as well, I'm sure. And especially in the hockey world. And whether that's fair or not, that's up to you to decide. But I think it's very interesting what we've seen go down here with Evander Kane. And I'll give you guys updates as we continue along. I think it's very interesting. It's been pretty much the soap opera of the offseason. And unfortunately, somebody had to be the victim, and that was Evander Kane in this situation. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think we're going to see here with Evander Kane? Does he get moved out of San Jose? Does he stay in San Jose because nobody's going to take him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.